Undertale is a game where you, as the player, have to get back to the surface because, oops, you fell into a hole. This game has been widely received as a cult classic and has been made into another game. You may be asking, hey, aren't we supposed to be talking about music? Which, we'll get there. The music of Undertale and Deltarune has been so influential to many different sources. We even joked about how Undertale would be never in Smash, but then they did. Even the Pope listened to Megalovania. But before heading into Undertale, we have to go back to the beginning of where the composer, Toby Fox, started. Robert F. Fox, also known as Toby Fox, was born on October 11th, 1991 in Manchester. Although his early life is not that known, he was one of 4 brothers in his family. Fox having access to video games was a major part of his music career and an inspiration for his games. One of the inspirations for his music career was Live Alive's Megalomania, created in 1994. He tried to recreate the song in the style of Earthbound using Earthbound's instruments, but eventually gave up since the composing of the song was way too hard to recreate. This song was intended for his ROM hack of Earthbound, which was titled Earthbound Halloween Hack. Although some of the jokes and plot are very controversial and outdated, some of the songs and references from the ROM hack are related to Undertale in a big way. Anyways, he started from scratch and made Megalovania. Of course, this sounds different from the most popular version of Megalovania since the song has a lot of difference. Other instruments are not included in this version of the song, as well as multiple sections in the song. The influence for the main melody was from a game called Brandish 2, with the song sounding like this. Of course, the main melody for the song is covered by other elements in the song, but you can hear it. In his creation of the song, he started by screaming the notes into his microphone and started jotting the notes down. The Live Alive's Megalomania was an inspiration for the song, but not the way you think. The inspiration in Fox's word was by totally attempting to be kind of a badass song that might be suitable for a similar purpose. However, this is not the only song that Toby Fox made. After making his ROM hack of Earthbound, he started posting it under a webcomic forum called MS Paint Adventures. His posts mainly consist of piano covers of Homestuck, a webcomic hosted on the website. The webcomic's creator, Andrew Hussey, took note of some of his covers and decided to put him on the team of composers. He has made most of the songs for Homestuck, and while within those, he has developed his style and improved. Within 2011's Homestuck Act 6, Toby Fox did include a version of Megalovania, adding several instruments and extending the song. The synthesized guitars in the Homestuck version were dropped an octave due to it sounding screechy and stupid. He wrote extended versions of the guitar sections and made it sound more badass, according to Toby Fox. The webcomic eventually ended in 2016, putting Toby Fox into his independent work. Toby Fox made Undertale, the first mention of the game, on his Kickstarter on June 25th, 2013. Eventually, with the support of over 2,000 people, he released Undertale on September 15th, 2015. The game's soundtrack was made in FL Studio, a DAW for musicians. A DAW, if you don't know, is a digital audio workstation program where you can make music and export it. The main theme, named after the game, was only iterated a small amount of times due to his vision of what the game was going to be. The song, according to Fox, was inspired by old RPG games, which you could tell was the case. Before making the songs in FL Studio, he tried making them in a music tracker, a way of making music for old games. Many of the NES games also use a music tracker. A music tracker used a vertical timeline, which would be limited to 4 tracks. However, going back to a more prehistoric method would be only inefficient, so he dropped the idea. Fox made the songs of Undertale before programming the sections, stating it helped decide how the scene should go. Other than that, many critics of the game pointed out the soundtrack for its excellence and composure. Undertale's music uses many references between the songs. These references are called Leitmotifs, short melodies that repeat throughout multiple songs. The first and most used one is the melody from Once Upon a Time. The melody goes something like this. It is used in 18 songs throughout the game. Here are some examples. With that, there are so many examples of these throughout Undertale's 101 songs, but we won't blabber about each one, so let's go into one of the most pivotal ones, Hopes and Dreams. This song plays when you go the pacifist route and fight a character called Ariel. Ariel's story and many other characters are very confusing. Anyway, the music for this section is beyond amazing. Not only does the music bop, but it goes along with the story and most of its themes. There are two leitmotifs in this song, Once Upon a Time and Your Best Friend. The song Your Best Friend refers to one of the reincarnations of Ariel, and he turns into a flower. The song plays at the beginning of the game when you first encounter the flower, therefore making this coalesce with Once Upon a Time to make one final epic song. Many of the songs not only use leitmotifs, they also use something called an ostinato. An ostinato is described as a repeating melody or tune that plays at the same pitch throughout one song. These are usually used in the background because if you are going to use this as the loudest part, it would get pretty annoying. Let's take an example from Megalovania. This may look very confusing, and trust me, I don't know what I'm looking at. In this example, you can see the 4-bar melody with a bar in the middle of the sheet. Let's look at the first part before the split in the middle. If you just have image recognition, you can tell that this part is also in the second part. Many different songs use this throughout the game and create a sense of catchiness. In addition to that, many of these songs use another element of catchiness. This element is commonly referred to a question and answer melody. It is not as complicated as some of the others, but still pretty cool. Fox would use this method to make the first part feel like it's empty and missing something, and then the second part would fulfill the first part of the melody. Let's take a random song in the soundtrack. As you can see, this first part ends on a down note, feeling empty and uncompleted. Then when the second part of the melody kicks in, you can see that the melody ends up on an up note, feeling completed. This is an example of the question and answer method. The songs also use a common poetry structure, A and B. In music terms, this means you have two main melodies in a song, A being the first melody in a song, and B being played as the following melody of the song. In music, this is referred to as binary form. Binary form is split into two parts, the A section and the B section, following along with the poetry structure that is in literature. However, in binary form, the sections are usually repeated twice, going A and B B. Let's take an example from the soundtrack. The A theme repeats throughout 0 seconds to 30 seconds and then changes into B theme after 30 seconds. This also follows the question and answer method we just talked about. Now that we have completed the structure, we can finally discuss some of the instruments and their origins. Most of Fox's instruments are made from sound fonts from old RPG games. Sound fonts are a collection of sounds that play at a certain note. People have created whole lists and sheets listing the origins of each instrument, which I recommend checking out if you want to know all of the sounds. The most used ones are from this one called SGM. This one is not made from a particular game, but this one called Piano 1 is used in Undertale Snowy, Ruins, and Snowed in Town. "69 instances of SGM were used in all of Undertale's soundtrack." Nice. The Earthbound sound font is used here as well. For example, the sound font is used in Fallen Down, Ghost Fight, and Dummy. 25 instances of the sound font were used through the entirety of the Undertale soundtrack. How about references? A lot of references are used throughout Undertale's music from other media, not just its own. For example, Another Medium, a song played when going through Hotland, an area in later parts in the game where were actually from an older project of his. As mentioned earlier, Toby Fox worked on Homestuck. This is the version of the song called Patient. Not only does it have a similar instrumentation, but the song is a direct reference to a later version of the song. Another example would be Dating Start. This is a particularly weird part of the game, but during the section, this song plays. This song is a reference to a Phoenix Wright song called Turnabout Sisters. However, in this one, the melody is not a direct reference as opposed to another medium. There are so many references in the music and the sound effects, but that is for another day. The music from Undertale is just a brilliant collection of songs on its own, not just for the purpose and the story of the game. Toby Fox has made a journey in his music career, and as a music creator myself, I couldn't be more proud. From starting out making recreations to making a soundtrack that everyone loves, that was the music of Undertale.